All right, guys, so here we are with the ingredients to this cookie recipe. This cookie recipe, y'all, is my favorite one. This, oh my goodness. So my family loves it too. I love it. So that's a win-win because, you know, they can eat regular cookies with eggs. And they used to always say that my cookie recipes without eggs didn't measure up. But this one does. They like it and I like it. So. And the ingredients are, now this is for one batch of cookies, which would be about 12 cookies. You could double this recipe. So the ingredients are 1/4 cup of granulated sugar plus 1 tablespoon more, 1/3 cup of brown sugar, 1 stick of butter. If you're making it vegan, you can use the vegan butter, which is the Earth Balance. So you use 4 ounces of that. If you're just making an eggless cookie, but it's not going to be vegan, you can use 1 stick of butter. You're going to use 2 tablespoons of water. We have that there. 1 teaspoon of vanilla, a 1/2 teaspoon of imitation almond extract. Now this you do not have to use the imitation almond. I added that in because the almond flavor just, to me, gives it that And then we're going to go to 1 cup plus 1 tablespoon of all-purpose flour, 3/4 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I use sea salt. And you're going to grind it finely. You're going to use 1/8 teaspoon of cornstarch. And you can use 1 cup of chocolate chips if you like. I only use about 3/4 or a little less cup because I don't like too many chocolate chips in mine. Me and my family like more cookie than chocolate chips. And then also, this is just an addition that you don't have to use. I add about 1/8 teaspoon of cinnamon. That and the almond extract just sends it over the top. But you could just use vanilla like a regular, recipe. The chocolate chips that I use, because I'm making this eggless, is the regular Kroger semi-sweet jumbo chocolate chips. These are so good. If you are making a vegan cookie, you would use vegan chocolate chips. Also, if you like nuts in your cookies, you can use walnuts, and you can use a 1/2 cup or less or a little more. Just depends on what you like in there. Okay, so that is it. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, we're over here at the mixer. I'm going to go ahead and get started with the whisk attachment, and I'm going to go ahead and lock my head down, and I'm just going to go ahead and whisk it and get it fluffy. I'll probably let it go for about a minute when it gets the butter fluffy. Okay, so it's been whisking a while. I'm going to go ahead and turn it down. I'm going to add in my 2/3 cup of brown sugar, and remember it's 2/3 because I'm doubling my recipe. But if you're just making a single batch, you're just going to use 1/3 cup of brown sugar. So I will have the recipe down below for 1 batch and 2 batches. I'm going to go ahead and just turn it off and add my sugars in. There's my sugar. I'm adding my vanilla. I'm adding almond extract, but remember you do not have to use this if you don't like almond. I'm now adding my water. And now, you guys, I'm adding my 1/8 teaspoon of cinnamon. You don't have to add the cinnamon. This is just my addition. The cinnamon, it does not taste like a cinnamony cookie. It just adds a little oomph, like, oh my goodness, what is that? It's so good. So we're going to go ahead and turn this on. Get it all combined. I'm going to let that go for about 1 minute. All right, here we go with our dry ingredients. Also, you guys, you could have put the cinnamon in with the dry ingredients. I put them in with the wet. That's okay though, because they're in with the sugar, so it's okay. We are going to use our flour next. So I have my flour here, my baking powder, my baking soda, salt, cornstarch, chocolate chips, and also, you guys, remember, put your chocolate chips in with your flour mixture. That way your chocolate chips will not sink to the bottom of your cookies. The flour helps to keep the chocolate chips distributed evenly at the top and throughout your cookie. Okay, also when you are getting your butter together for your recipe, I should have said this earlier, but your butter, when you have room temperature butter, it comes out the best. If you want a really thin cookie, it's like the more meltier the butter, the flatter cookie and thinner cookie you will have. The more firm your butter, the more fluffier your cookie will be. So remember that. Mine is basically right at room temperature because I like a nice medium cookie. Before I add this in, I'm going to change this wire whisk to the flat edge beater. That way I don't beat in a lot of air, and also it scrapes the side of my bowl. I'm going to get as much of this off as possible. Change to the flat edge beater, and this beater scrapes the side of my bowl because it has this rubber attachment on here, and it scrapes the side of the bowl. Okay. Turn it on and go ahead and start adding your flour mixture. So I'm going to turn it up just for a second because we don't want to whip air into it. We just want to do this until it combines. Okay, you never want to mix it a long time getting that flour in. And there we go. Look at that beautiful dough, you all, and it tastes so good. So now the secret to a good cookie is putting the dough in the refrigerator for 15 minutes to 30 minutes, and that way the dough relaxes and it distributes better. The ingredients distribute and rest, and it just makes for a better cookie. And then also after that, you're going to freeze the cookie for 15 minutes before putting it into the oven. All right, you guys, so after refrigerating the dough for 30 minutes, you want to go ahead and scoop it out. Now I'm going to start scooping with this, but just to size my balls, but my little ice cream scooper is not acting correctly. I'm going to have to get a new one, but you typically want to use this. If you do not have an ice cream scooper, you can go ahead and use a tablespoon and just kind of scoop it and make the balls the same size if you can. So I'm just going to go ahead and dip it out. Comes out like that. Want to make them even around the bottom also, and then you just go ahead and let it come out. Oh, it came out good. So I'm going to go ahead and fill up this tray with the chocolate chip dough mixture, and on the second tray over here I'm going to put walnuts in that batch. So I'll show you what I'm doing after I get this filled up. All right, guys, so I have 12 perfectly scooped dough balls, chocolate chip dough balls. So I'm going to put these in the freezer for 20 to 25 minutes. All right, you guys, so since I got the first half of the dough already in the freezer with the chocolate chips, I'm going to go ahead and add the walnuts to the second batch, and you can add as many as you like. I'm just eyeing it. I'm going to add about, I'd say that's a little over a fourth or about 1/3 cup. You can use as many as you want, like I said, or none at all. You could make just all chocolate chips, but my husband and I like walnuts in ours, so I'm going to put these in the second batch. I have 12 chocolate chip cookies with walnuts all balled out. So I'm going to go ahead and stick these in the freezer also. And here are the cookies out of the freezer. I've already put them in the freezer for 25. You want to put them in for 20 to 30 minutes. 30 minutes is best. And so that's the first tray, and this is the tray with the chocolate chips and walnuts. So I'm putting them both in the oven, a preheated 350 degree oven for about 12 to 15 minutes. And you want to check for doneness close to the end so that you don't overcook. And you want to put them into a preheated 350 degree oven, and you want to check on them after about 10 to 11 minutes. You want them in probably about 12 to 13 minutes, but you do not want to over bake. And here are the cookies after 14 minutes, you all, and look at them. They look delicious. They are still poofy, and usually after they sit for a few minutes, they're going to deflate some and flatten out. So these are the cookies with the walnuts. For some reason, they don't spread as much as the other ones, but here they are. Same dough, just these have walnuts and the other ones do not. So I'm going to come back in a few minutes and we're going to see how much they have deflated. Here are the cookies. They have spread some, and you can see they're more crispier around the edges. They're going to be soft, and you don't want to over bake these. You just want to bake these cookies till they're just barely turning golden. That's going to give you a tender, melt in your mouth cookie. They are so good. So I'm going to go ahead and put them on the cooling racks. They've been here after I took them out of the oven. I left them on here for about 5 minutes. Now I'm going to put them on the cooling racks. So they are ready to come off. They're not super brown underneath, but they have cooled enough to get put on here without crumbling and falling apart. So we're going to get them on the cooling racks. Okay, so let's test one of these out. Show you how they are. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. They are soft and chewy on the inside, soft and gooey rather. And they're chewy because I've made this recipe several times already. They're chewy on the inside and they are crisp on the outside. That makes for a real good cookie. Let's taste this. Ooh wee! Oh my goodness. So let me taste this. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but those are delicious. Oh my goodness. Lord have mercy.